Come, let us explore abuse and gaslighting. An individual on Reddit asked, how is a contemplative to know when it is time to leave an abusive situation? That's an excellent question, especially since a typical facet of abuse is gaslighting, which can actually undermine one's intuition and make one question if one is even being abused, or if all the misdeeds are occurring in one's own mind or one's own misperception. One of the lessons of the Tao Te Ching is the necessity to go with the flow. It's been my experience. Let me jump ahead and find a visual aid real quick. It's been my experience that the more time we spend correctly practicing mindfulness and correctly practicing meditation, the more our choices and our utterances and our deeds will flow from the effortless effort of love's centered spontaneity. This is also known as the sixth fold of the Buddha's eightfold path. Centered spontaneity should not be confused with the scattered spontaneity one might experience if one powers down 3 consecutive energy drinks. That's completely different. But the centered spontaneity is the effortless byproduct of mindfulness and meditation. So, is there a rule of thumb? Yes, there is. The moment we ask, am I in centered spontaneity? We're not. That's not the flow state. So I'd like to give you an example from my own life. One time I was in an abusive situation, and I wanted to do the right thing in the right way at the right timing. And I sat down and meditated, and my partner at that time walked in, and the words just came out of my mouth unbidden. They weren't cruel, they weren't spiteful, they were gentle yet firm. The more we and so this is a litmus test of meditation and mindfulness. The more this happens, the more we know we're on the right track. The less personal power we experience, then we know that, in the words of Bugs Bunny, we've taken a wrong turn at Albuquerque. This concludes our opening lesson. It is Rey Skywalker Sunday evening. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi. So I'm going to tap button 9 and hopefully take us to the latest iteration of Easy Mantra Meditation. 1 second here. Gotta find the right button, that's always a joy. And to put a sharper button on the point on this, I'm going to put this here. The 5 Dhyana Buddhas Easy Mantra Meditation. That works much better. Oh, come on, cursor, don't be that way. Fabulous. Well, let's move ahead. Please chant with me. Whatever comes, may all beings let it come. Whatever stays, may all beings let it stay. Whatever goes, may all beings let it go. we come to the first fifth of this evening's mindful crease counting meditation. This is an excellent opportunity to review the three facets of Bengali crease counting. The first facet is what we do with our right hand. Over the span of 12 inhalations, we could advance our right thumb in the following manner, beginning with our little finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now we come to our left hand. If we multiply these 12 inhalations by 8 sets, we'll wind up with 96 inhalations. And we can count those 8 sets on our left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sets of 12 inhalations each. Now we come to the third phase where we work with both hands simultaneously. Let's rest the great knuckle at the base of our right little finger, upon the tip of our left little finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce in the bladder region of our lower abdomen. Let's begin with mantra meditation. During our inhalation, we could silently and mentally recite relaxing into this. This, the demonstrative pronoun this, refers to whatever we vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, or fleetingly notice as we breathe in. It could be something that is external or internal or physical or mental or pleasurable or painful or interesting or boring or glorious or grotesque. During our exhalation, let's do two things. Let's physically relax as best we can while striving to chant this mantra 8 times per breath for a total of 4 breaths. Om Mama Gasidiya, 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 Om Mama Gasidiya. Om Mama Gasidiya, 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 Om Gasidiya, Om Mama 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 Gasidiya. We switch gears now from mantra meditation to silent meditation. Each time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation. Our sympathetic nervous system wires us to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics, such as perceptions, sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, scents, and the like, including emotions, intentions, cognitions, recollections, and imaginings. Each time we silently and mentally recite, let's try this again. So this whole kit and caboodle is known as mindfulness. Each time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, our parasympathetic nervous system empowers us to both physically relax as well as mentally release what we noticed during our previous inhalation. This is known as meditation. Together as a team, let us practice right now. And the moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist philosophy, or Buddhist meditation, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window. Aha, Kimberly wrote. Let's see, I'm going to push button 8. Kimberly wrote, Hi, I've been so overwhelmed with outside interest that I was hoping maybe you'd remember the journalist who was very fond of Thich Nhat Hanh. Please excuse my misspelling, but he had, like, scrolls. I don't understand those last 5 words. Sorry about that. But anywho, Kimberly, I'm happy to help you. And I'm not sure if you heard my opening instructions, but I'll repeat them in just a few more minutes. And the more specific, so my question is for you is, when you please share with me your questions, your very specific questions about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist philosophy, or Buddhist meditation. That's how I can help you. If you don't ask questions, sadly, I won't be able to answer them. So let's move forward. I'm going to tap button 9. Welcome to the second fifth of this evening's mindful crease counting meditation. Let's rest the great knuckle at the base of our right ring finger, upon the tip of our left ring finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite the real or imagined, our real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce in the navel region of our mid-abdomen, and to do so effortlessly and automatically. Before we practice silent meditation, let's play with mantra meditation, and it's super easy. During our inhalation, we could silently and mentally recite, relaxing into this. This could refer, the demonstrative pronoun this, could refer to whatever it is we notice as we breathe in, whether that which we notice is external or internal, physical or mental, pleasurable or painful, interesting or boring, glorious or grotesque. During our exhalation, let's do 2 things simultaneously. Let's physically relax as best we can while simultaneously striving to chant these syllables 4 times per breath for a total of 4 breaths. And if this is your first time hanging out with me, please give yourself permission to have a learning curve. Om Rana Sambhavadram, 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 Om Rana Sambhavadram. Om Rana Sambhavadram, 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 Om Rana Sambhavadram. Om Rana Sambhavadram, 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 Om Rana Sambhavadram. Excellent. Now let's switch gears from mantra meditation to silent meditation. Each time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, Our sympathetic nervous system wires us to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics. Mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. This whole kit and caboodle is simply mindfulness, or sati, or rigpa. Each time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, our parasympathetic nervous system wires us to physically relax and mentally release whatever it is we noticed during our previous inhalation. We could describe this as meditation or samadhi. So together as a team, let us play with this right now. Before we do, allow me to take a moment to blow your mind. What if enlightenment was nothing mystical, was nothing magical? What if enlightenment was simply getting so good at the Buddha's... Oopsie, I think I lost something here. It was getting so good at the Buddha's Eightfold Path that we practiced it spontaneously, habitually, easily, and effectively. No human child is born knowing how to use the toilet, or knowing how to brush their teeth, or knowing how to tie their shoes, or knowing how to ride a bike. And yet most human children get so good at those four activities that they're able to practice them spontaneously, habitually, easily, and effectively, typically prior to entering the first grade. Similarly, by simply playing with mindfulness and meditation every 12 hours or so, the remaining 6 folds of the Buddha's Eightfold Path could take care of themselves. Not only could we wind up practicing them, but we could master them in as little as a week. I spy with my little eye a question. Oh, that's so very kind of you. Welcome aboard. Kimberly, to you I send a Yoda high five. So, having done that, one moment. Let's go over here and click copy and click paste, because that's how I roll. And now let's go back. And now, for a change of pace, let's practice mindfulness and meditation. We come now to the third fifth of this evening's mindful crease counting meditation. If you've just joined, I'll quickly give you a review of the threefold Bengali crease counting. The first fold is to work with our right hand. Over the span of 12 inhalations, we could advance our right thumb in the following manner, beginning with our little finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now let us work with our left hand. Multiply these 12 inhalations by 8 sets, and you've got 96 inhalations. We could count those 8 sets on our left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sets of 12 inhalations each. Now we come to part 3, where we work with both hands simultaneously. Let us rest the great knuckle at the base of our right middle finger upon the tip of our left middle finger. Palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to effortlessly and automatically coalesce at the heart region of our chest. Before we practice silent meditation, let's practice mantra meditation. It's super easy. During our inhalation, we can silently and mentally recite the essential instructions of mindfulness and meditation, relaxing into this. During our exhalation, we can do 2 things simultaneously. We could physically relax as best we can while striving to chant all these syllables 4 times per breath for 4 breaths. And of course, give yourself permission, please give yourself permission to have a learning curve. Om Makshobhyahum, 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 Om Makshobhyahum. Om Makshobhyahum, 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 Om Makshobhyahum. Om Makshobhyahum, Om Makshobhyahum, Om Makshobhyahum, Om Makshobhyahum, Om Makshobhyahum, Om Makshobhyahum. Om Makshobhyahum, Om Makshobhyahum. Om Makshobhyahum, 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 Om Makshobhyahum. We shift gears now from mantra meditation to silent meditation. Each time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, our sympathetic nervous system makes it possible for us to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, or imagination. Each time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, our parasympathetic nervous system makes possible the physical relaxation and mental release of whatever it is that we noticed during our previous inhalation. Together as a team, let us practice right now. Welcome to the fifth of this evening's mindful crease counting meditation. Now, the finger position I'm going to show you now is a little tricky. What I'd like to do is rest the tips of each of your left fingers upon the corresponding knuckles of your right hand. And then rest these two hands palms up in your lap. And do give yourself permission to have a learning curve. Doing this could gently and effortlessly invite our real or imagined subtle energies to coalesce at the region of our throat that feels like it tightens just before we cry. Before we practice silent meditation, let's play with mantra meditation. During our inhalation, let us silently and mentally recite the essential instructions of mindfulness and meditation. Relaxing into this. During our exhalation, let's silently and let's physically relax as best we can while striving to chant all these syllables 4 times per breath for a total of 4 breaths. Om Amida Bari 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 Om Amida Bari. Ouch. All right. Each time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, our sympathetic nervous system helps us to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. Each time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, our parasympathetic nervous system helps us to physically relax and mentally release whatever it is that we noticed during our previous inhalation. Together as a team, let us practice right now, but first allow me to remind you that the moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist philosophy, or Buddhist meditation, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window. And now, together as a team, let us practice. All right, excellent question. Let's take a look here. Excellent. I've got a question. Let's take a look and see what the question asks. Going to tap button 8. Okay, and let's tap this one here. Kimberly wrote, do you believe in reading the interpersonal techniques of Kate Crisp and Fleet Mall are helpful for your practice of karma and impermanence of dharma? So, this is excellent. So this is actually a compound question. And this is a rather complex question that I'm going to answer in an annoyingly simple manner. So bear with me. I'm going to set some, what's the word I'm looking for? Set a foundation to answer this question. So, I'm going to tap button 9. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten your question. And here we go. Excellent. Okay. So, we come to the final fifth of mindful crease counting meditation. And I invite you to rest the great knuckle at the base of your right index finger, upon the tip of your left index finger, palms up in your lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to automatically and effortlessly coalesce at the crown region of our head. I haven't forgotten your question. Now, let's review Sturgeon's Law. Sturgeon's Law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks. And no, Kimberly, not in the fun, tingly way. What could this suckiness look like? It can look like that approximately 12,000 years ago, something strange happened in our evolution. We developed civilization, and we stepped away from being flexible, loving, rational, laid-back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind, and fell into the muddy, muddy ditch of being rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel. So much so that we're taught to denigrate those who want to be flexible and really, really rely on those who want to be rigid. Now, people who are fearful, people who are superstitious, people who are controlling, love to manipulate other people. Oh, they just can't get enough of them. Oh, it makes them drool and salivate. They get so excited about denying others the benefit of the doubt, assuming the worst of others, and browbeating them into submission. And one of their favorite tools of doing this is abusing interdependence, telling people, oh, karma's gonna get you if you don't watch out. Oh yeah, and they make a song and a dance of it, and they'll tell people that they're going to go to hell and experience all these horrible torments if they don't do thus and such. But if they do thus and such, well, then they're going to get some amazing rewards. Well, you might ask, what's wrong with that? Besides the obvious, being manipulated with fear sets us up to become resentful. Besides that, 50% of the Buddha's Eightfold Path pertains to loving kindness. And fear and love are antithetical. And when we choose to be motivated by fear of punishment or greed for reward, we have completely lost sight of 50% of the Buddha's path, which is loving kindness. So how, I love watching kitty cat videos on YouTube. Maybe you do too. I don't know. Let me know. But one of my favorite things to watch is when you have a curious cat, stick its head into a Kleenex box, an empty Kleenex box. And then the cat can't get its head out, and it looks up, and looks this way, and looks that way, and then it starts walking backwards right off the table onto its tush. That makes me laugh. That makes me lose my mind. I think that's the funniest thing. Humans are the similar way. As a species, for about the last 12 millennia, we're like that cat with its head stuck in an empty Kleenex box. How are we going to back our way out? That is exactly what I'm going to show you right now. But first, we're going to warm up with some mantra meditation. So here we go. We're going to silently and mentally recite, relaxing into this as we inhale. While we exhale, we're going to do two things. We're going to physically relax as best we can while chant all these syllables 4 times per breath for a total of 4 breaths. Om Varajana Om Varajana Om 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 Om Varajana Om Varajana Om. And now the explanation I promised you. What happens when someone who thinks that being rigid and fearful and controlling is A-okay? What happens when someone like that tries to meditate? Well, 9 times out of 10, they will try to focus, or they will try to analyze, or they will try to do both. Now, invariably, the part of our brain that is responsible for that behavior can only do so for a short period of time before it gets tuckered out. And then what happens? Our amygdala is triggered. So what? What's the big deal? Our amygdala is the seat of anxiety and aggression. Now, ask anybody. And they'll tell you, ask anybody, hey, do you want to feel anxiety or peace? Do you want to be aggressive or do you want to be loving? 9 times out of 10, people will say, I want to be peaceful and loving, please. But that's not what we get when we implement when we indulge our controlling tendencies and try to focus and try to analyze. We like a kitty cat with his head stuck in an empty Kleenex box, just get deeper and deeper and deeper into the quagmire of anxiety and aggression, which is really yucky. Now, here's some good news. Every time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, our sympathetic nervous system, ensconced within the middle third of our spinal cord, is wired to help us notice in a very special way. To help us notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly, which I'm sure you'll agree is the opposite of being rigid and controlling. It's the opposite of concentration. isn't it? What is it that we are wired to notice? We're wired to notice mind's antics of perception. Sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, scents, and the like. The full spectrum of emotions and intentions and thoughts and memories and imaginings. The full spectrum of human experience. From the external to the internal, from the physical to the mental, from the pleasurable to the painful, from the interesting to the boring, from the glorious to the grotesque. We are called by the Buddha himself to vulnerably and courageously experience whatever the present moment throws at us. Even if the present moment throws at us a blood-curdling memory. Every time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, the parasympathetic nervous system divided between the lower third and the upper third of that same spinal cord makes possible the physical relaxation and mental release that help us mental release of whatever it is we noticed during our inhalation, even if what we noticed was painful or boring or grotesque. Even if what we noticed was anxiety or aggression. Let's explore right now, not one, not two, but 3 benefits of playing with mindfulness and meditation. Benefit number 1, we calm our experience of anxiety and aggression. We take the edge off. Now, that might not seem like a lot, but every little bit helps. Number 2, the more we play with awareness and release, the less and less and less our anxiety and our aggression are able to control our choices or our utterances or our deeds. And now let's come to the 3rd benefit of playing with mindfulness and meditation. The more we play with mindfulness and meditation, the more we stimulate the anterior cingulate gyrus. This hunk of meat that from this perspective kind of looks like a smushed letter C. This bad boy functions as the hub of our mirror neurons, the seat of empathy, which in turn is the root of both compassion and love. This is exactly what the late Tulku Thondup insisted. That the best that focus and analysis can give us is a pale, flaccid, worthless, weak analog of love. However, by effortlessly, mindlessly, stupidly playing with just mindfulness and meditation, we so stimulate the anterior cingulate gyrus that we experience the highest love, which we experience as a fringe benefit, as an effortless, uncontrived, fringe benefit of love, of awareness and release. This gives us, effortlessly and automatically gives us 50% of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. Kindness of intention, kindness of communication, kindness of conduct, and commerce that is as cooperative as it is kind. The highest scholars agree that Originally, the Buddha did not teach vows. He simply taught the Eightfold Path, knowing that if we were defined, that if our choices and our utterances and our deeds were defined by kindness, everything would take care of itself. Now remember what I told you several minutes ago, that the more we practice mindfulness and meditation, the more our choices and utterances and deeds flow from the effortless effort of love's centered spontaneity. When that happens, well, let me go back for a second. Remember, love's centered spontaneity should not be confused with the scattered spontaneity we experience when we chug 3 consecutive monster drinks. No. This is the centered spontaneity that is an effortless byproduct of mindfulness and meditation. So, when we do this, we don't have to worry about techniques of communication. We do not have to worry about techniques of persuasion. We don't have to worry about persuading others. We don't have to worry about manipulating ourselves. We can flow. We can flow in the centered spontaneity that is the fruit of awareness and release. Now let's dig a little deeper. If you've read much Buddhist literature, you are probably familiar with the phrase Buddha nature. Buddha nature is a charming Iron Age way of describing that there's something in our body and brain that makes not only the practice of the Buddha's Eightfold Path, but its mastery a possibility. Now, in this year, 2024, we have such good fortune. We have such imaging technology that shows us that our sympathetic nervous system makes mindfulness possible effortlessly. It wants to do it if we just get out of its own way. Our parasympathetic nervous system makes meditation possible. Our anterior cingulate gyrus makes empathy possible. Our birthright is enlightenment. We have evolved to master the Buddha's path easily, effortlessly, in as little as a week. So we don't need we could choose. We could be what is the fundamental duality of Buddhism according to the Buddha? The fundamental duality is pushing or pulling, or in other words, aversion or avarice, fear or hope, dread or desire. And as long as we are beating ourselves up with fear of hell or desire for Pure Land, as long as we do that, we are just inuring ourselves, chaining ourselves forever to that duality, which is antithetical to the Eightfold Path. However, when we set aside our controlling and manipulative tendencies, whether they are outward facing or inward facing, when we set that aside, just put it on a shelf and instead play with mindfulness and meditation. We unleash the superpower of empathy, which makes doing the right thing in the right way, in the right time, an inevitability. I hope I've answered your question in a helpful and perhaps entertaining manner. Together as a team, let us practice mindfulness and meditation right now. By the way, let us take a deeper dive into this wonderful thing called meditation. Every time we physically relax and mentally release, whatever we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel less tantalizing, less defining, and less permanent. Literal impermanence is the key to the Buddha's right view. But wait, there's more. Every time we physically relax and mentally release in harmony with our exhalation, all that we noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel as if it was as non-graspable as a vast, empty void. Any good English teacher will remind us that a simile is only as useful as it is relatable. Therefore, we have to ask the question, what? What is a real-world example of a non-graspable, vast, empty void? How about the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although could be tantalizing to the eye, is non-graspable to the hand. And so we see that emptiness is just a figure of speech for the experience of letting go that is latent within each inhalation. Now check this out. Every time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, we interrupt our brain's habit of competing against its own sympathetic nervous system, which causes so much suffering, and create an opportunity for them to return to their optimal state of cooperation. Similarly, every time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, we interrupt our brain's competition with our parasympathetic nervous system, and thus creating an opening, an opportunity for it to return to its optimal state of cooperation. How ironic is it that the key to enlightenment is as simple as cooperating with our central nervous system? Let's continue. So I've said all that to say this. Whether you read the writings of Prahevajra of the Swat Valley or Gompopam of Bengal or Yongjie Xuanjue of China, simply noticing and releasing is all the karmic purification we could ever need, if there is such a thing as karma. For whatever karma we notice during our inhalation, during our exhalation could feel as non-graspable as a vast, empty void. Now, some people just lose their minds and are like, oh my goodness, karmic purification is so easy. I can just act like Anakin Skywalker in the council chamber and slaughter all the younglings I want. Here's the thing. The more we practice mindfulness and meditation, the more free we are from the control of our cruel and sadistic impulses. They may be there, but they will control our choices, utterances, and deeds less and less and less. So, the more we practice mindfulness and meditation, the less apt we are to play the fool. In the foundation text of Dzogchen, also known as Ati Yoga or Mahasanti, Prahe Vajra wrote, "There is no path or stages of a path to enlightenment. Enlightenment is as quick as mastering the Eightfold Path. Beware of people who offer you processes and procedures for a nominal fee that take time and effort to master. Reminds me of something that Jesus is said to have explained. When speaking to the Pharisees, he said, 'You cross land and sea to make one proselyte, and then you make him into as much a son of perdition as yourself. The path is easy and gentle and powerful. Beware of those who needlessly complicate it or obfuscate it. Or indulge in patriarchy's poison of elitism and stand between you and nirvana.'" Kimberly, I thank you for a wonderful question. My friends, all who are in attendance, you have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. I do look forward to leading tomorrow morning's meditation class and group practice. It's the exact time of tomorrow's morning's class is uncertain due to my health challenges. So I invite you to stay tuned. And if you are as geeky as me, may the force be with you always.